Hey everyone, welcome to the Acrylic Asylum. I'm Mike Ferris, and thank you for joining me. And in this video, I'm going to be doing a custom piece for a friend of mine who has a pet dog they dearly love, and you can find the drawing process and how I laid this piece out in the description box below, as well as on the suggested video as well. Okay, and then also, if anyone would like a custom piece done, I do a variety of different paintings from still life, abstract, landscape, and in this one you're going to see pets, and I've done many pets for people before in the past, so you can get a hold of me at the links in the description box below as well. And I'm also have down there a list of all the tools and materials and colors that I'm using, but I will be calling out the colors as I put them down. So getting started now, I'm just putting down some raw umber, and along with that some phthalo blue, and I'm gonna put some titanium white down with that as well. And I'm just gonna start mixing up all three of these colors in different proportions, nothing too exact, and I'm just basically gonna make a sort of faded background to start off with. Now I'm going to take this raw umber and phthalo blue, and I'm going to mix those two together to create my own black for this black dog. And I'm just going to start putting that in the places it goes where the direct light's not going to be hitting it. And I didn't want something pure black or anything that was already made for me, because I felt like when I saw this picture that there was this underlying dark blue to it, so it kind of had this light kind of thing going on where it wasn't exactly pure black. And so by mixing it this way, I'm getting more of a realistic effect, and I'm getting it very close to the picture. In fact, I think it looks just like it when it's all done. Okay, so now I'm going to change the value of this color by adding titanium white, and this is going to be where the highlights are going to go, and this is what's going to start to add our dimension and our depth. But of course, this is the first layer, so again, in the acrylic world, as I've said in other videos, this is not supposed to be the final, and therefore it's not supposed to look all that clean. And this abstract rough sort of first layer helps in our advantage later when we add more layers, and it brings in more depth, and that adds more dimension. So just going to put these colors basically where they go, and I can adjust them any way that I need to, but as long as I have the value where they go, this is going to look correct. And now it makes more sense to mix the phthalo blue and raw umber to make our own black, because with these blue highlights, the way the light's hitting this black dog, it blends more naturally with the made black than if I were to have something that was just pure black or made for me already. Okay, so I've cleaned my brush off and I'm getting some titanium white and just a touch of this raw umber to create this light brown color. And I'm just going to dab that on in this area right here. And later I'm going to come back and put a little white on top of this and leave some of this brown underneath, and that's going to create more depth and make it look more like real fur. Okay, so now I'm just cleaning off my brush and now going back to that dark color again, and I'm just going to go ahead and start applying more of that in the areas that it goes. Okay, and then taking that color and again lightening it up and going for that highlight color again, and this time it's going to be right here on the forehead area. And so again, just getting these colors basically put where they go. And you know, I'm looking at this reference picture and I'm just seeing just the different value of colors within the photograph. It looks, obviously it's a black dog, but again, not the whole thing is pure black. Of course, you have light hitting it and it looks kind of bluish, so I'm putting that where it goes. And then I'm also getting this dark color and playing it back and forth with this lighter stuff and just getting that first coat down and just more or less in an abstract way filling in where this color generally goes. Okay, so obviously it doesn't look all that great because again, this is the first layer and it's just getting started with just layout of where color generally goes. But as you can see, with the values being placed where they're supposed to be, we're starting to see somewhat of the face of this dog and it's starting to make some sense. And so again, we're just blocking in and getting everything where it's supposed to be. So now I'm just going to take that light brown color again, that raw umber and titanium white mixture, and I'm going to dab that in up into the nose area. And it looks like on the reference photo, that is about what is happening in these areas. And now taking my dark color again, the raw umber and the phthalo blue, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that right under the nose. And again, just looking at the photo and grabbing my values and placing them where they go. Now I'm taking my number 4 round brush and going into the black that I made, and I'm going to start defining the edge of the eyes. Okay, so I didn't really like the round brush that I had, so I actually switched brushes to my number 4 flat brush, which is a pretty small flat brush that I'm using. And you know, sometimes that happens. You'll pick up a brush you think is the one you want to use, and then you'll discover that actually something else is better than that. So what I'm doing now is taking that same dark color, and this eye has some light playing in there and bouncing around off of it. There's going to be some reflective light and different colors shining in there. So again, I'm just going to take the colors and the values that I see in the photo, and I'm just going to put those where they go as well in the eye. Okay, so I stuck some raw umber in there, and now I'm going to pick up some of this lighter highlight color, and I'm just going to cover over where that goes as well, and that just indicates that there's light playing around and reflective light off of the black fur that looks sort of blue in the light, kind of bouncing off of his eyeball. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in there with my dark color, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some of that back into the eye, and again just playing this color back and forth until it's adjusted to what I see in the photo. Okay, and so now on the other side, it's going to be starting off with some lighter raw umber with just a little bit of titanium white in it. And again, I'm not doing the eyes exactly the same because light isn't hitting these exactly the same, so the values are not exactly the same. And according to the reference picture, it looks like I'm going to be putting in the same colors but in a slightly different way. So now I'm going to put down some Alizeran Crimson and mix a tiny bit of that with some titanium white and create this light pink color. And I'm going to take that and apply that on the underside of the dog's belly. And it's going to actually be white fur, but in the reference photo it looks like between the reflective light and the hands that are holding him there's this like underglow and sort of pink underneath. So I want to create that real effect in that way and put this down first. Okay, so now I'm just going to take that black color again, and now I'm going to hit the other side of this paw right here. And then of course on top of that I'll hit it with some highlights where those go. Now I'm going to take some more Alizeran Crimson and this titanium white and make about the same color that I put down for the under base color for the fur on the dog, and do the hands sort of in a similar way, because on top of the hands I'm going to be putting some highlights and mixing some other colors in. And so with a reference photo, it looks like the way this light is playing in this picture, that it's taking kind of all the colors and sort of mixing all of them together. It's taking the black dog and it's taking some of that blue reflective light off of the dog and throwing it on the hands a little bit, and then the pink from the hands is sort of bouncing off the fur, giving it that underglow look that I put down. So in real life, it seems that light kind of takes a room and makes it common to that room with those colors in it. And so I'm basically going to put all those colors I see and basically play the same game that I see being played in this photo. And again, this is what I'm seeing. Okay, so I'm going to let the hands dry for a minute now, and now I'm going to go back and mix up this highlight color and go back into the dog's face and start applying more colors and layers on top of what I've already done, and now it's going to start to look pretty decent. So I'm going to start with that highlight right here in the forehead area and just start working everything and building more stuff. Now I'm going to go back into that highlight color and I'll start applying that on the paw right here. And so I'm just going to use the corner of my brush, or actually the side of it, and just slash on some of this highlight color into the paw areas and give the appearance and the impression of fur. Okay, so now I'm just tapping the titanium white. I have a little bit of color left over in there, but it's going to be lighter than before. And now I'm tapping it in around the nose area. And so by tapping it, it's giving the impression of some short hair fur. So now I'm going to take some pure titanium white, and now I'm going to start going over this pink spot that I did for the underbelly of the dog. And again, I want some of that pink to just barely show through, because in the picture it is white, but again, like I said, I feel like I can see some slight hint of sort of a pink haze from some light just playing and bouncing off from underneath the fur somehow. So now I'm taking again that dark color, and I'm going to start defining some of these curves on the fingers. And in the photo, it again looks like this finger or these hands, they're not really the highlight of the picture, obviously, but in the picture it looks like even there it's more of a backdrop as well. So I'm not getting too crazy with details on the hands and the fingers and all that, but I am going to put again the values of colors that I see on them to show that that's what's going on and that the dog's being held in somebody's arms. So as you can see, we're using the same colors for even some of the creases and shadowed areas, as well as the color of the fur on the dog. And again, it's this light that's playing, and it's the colors within the picture that are kind of brought together and used interchangeably to create the picture. Okay, so now I'm going to use this matte medium, and that basically is going to help my colors to flow better and make them a little bit more transparent. And also it really helps to blend the colors together, because these hands really look like all of the colors in the entire picture are kind of bouncing off of the skin of these hands a bit. You've got the original sort of pink tone to them, you've got some white that's hitting them directly, and then you've got this highlighted, you know, fur color off the dog that's bouncing off as well. So the hands are really going to get some work done to them in a way where all of the colors that I'm using here are going to be playing in the hands just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just picking up pure titanium white, and again I'm going to go into the underbelly of the dog, and now it's going to contrast, as you can see, a little bit better between the shadow underneath this chin and the open area where the light's directly hitting it. And I wanted to leave some of the gray, sort of light Payne's gray actually, on the right side just before the paw, because again that has more contrast, it has more depth and dimension as well. Okay, so now I pretty much have my values laid out where they go, and the color values are about what I want to see. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and start applying more layers on top of what I've already done, using about the same values, maybe some slight variations and adjustments here and there. But for the most part, this is the parameters in which I'm going to work till I'm finished. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and add more texture, and then I'm going to start getting into fine details. Okay, so I'm going to define the nose now, and I'm going to take my number 4 round brush, and I'm just dipping it in pure titanium white, and I'm wiping most of the paint off my brush, and I'm dry brushing just so that I can scratch in somewhat of a rough sort of faded white look, just to keep the appearance that in fact it is a nose, and the dog's nose does have some texture to it. Okay, so now I'm taking pure titanium white, and I've dipped my brush into lots of water to make it run like ink. And so now I'm just slashing in these tiny little hairs to give the impression of short-haired fur. And as I'm doing this, I don't want to cover the entire thing up, because if I do cover everything with this white, I'm going to lose some of that depth and texture. So I want to leave some of that dark stuff underneath. Okay, and then taking that script liner brush again with some pure titanium white, and again not covering every part of the nose up and not losing that depth and texture, but just some here and there, and scratching in a few little of these small little itty bitty hairs that you'd see. Okay, so I put down some more Phthalo Blue, and again mixing it up with that raw umber to create that dark color, and just gonna go and define the nose just a little bit further. And I'm also going to be using it as well to define the eyes a little bit more as well, making them pop even more. Okay, so now I'm going to take pure titanium white and again dip my script liner brush into lots of water to make my white paint run like ink. And I'm going to slash in these teeny little hairs again to make the impression of short-haired fur. Okay, so picking up my dark color again, and I'm going to go underneath the nose, and I'm going to really define this shadow area, and that's just going to make this pop and contrast just a little bit more. Okay, and then in the shadowed area, I'm going to again take my script liner brush and pure titanium white, and in a few spots, not many, there is a tiny bit of light that is sneaking into those shadowed areas, and so again that brings out a little bit more depth and texture this way. Now I'm picking up more dark color, and I'm just going to go ahead and scratch in the indication of some creases in the hand area. Okay guys, so I'm just taking my script liner brush with some titanium white and lots of water, and just going to sign this piece right down here in the lower left hand corner. And there is the puppy dog. And thank you so much guys for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe for future content. And happy painting guys, I'll see you on the next video.